Hey Ashley, how's it going?
Oh, good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. It's good to speak to you.
Nice
It's,
to speak to you too.
it's
Where
been
are
a,
you coming? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Birmingham, England. Um,
Ah, Birmingham.
and
Very nice.
and
One of
you're
my favorite Chinese restaurants is there.
and you're in Croatia at the moment, aren't you?
Yes, I'm in Dubrovnik.
So how's that been going for you?
It's been beautiful, except today it rained, so kind of had a chill movie day in the flat today, but tomorrow it's supposed to be really nice, so probably do some nice swimming.
Well, I guess for someone like you who loves your traveling, I'm guessing this year's been quite a difficult one for you because I guess you haven't been able to go anywhere for a few months, have you?
Yeah, I was supposed to go, visit some friends in France in back in June, and just nothing has happened. I keep postponing the trip, but it's just not looking good this year. So I just said, I'll go to Croatia, and I'm so glad I did. It's awesome here, but I wish I could see my friends.
Of course, yeah. But it's an important week for you because you got the new album, Something Lovely, coming this Friday, which is very, very exciting. Is it a slightly
Yeah.
bittersweet feeling for you to release an album at the moment without having all the fun stuff that usually comes with an album release?
Yeah, I mean it's really really strange to be releasing an album and not be able to like do shows and concerts and travel. Like It's it's very strange. I hope next year looks a little better for that, but I'm just honestly, I'm just more so glad than bittersweet. I'm just excited for people to be able to hear the music.
Yeah. And I've listened to the album, it's absolutely gorgeous. And I love that kind of theatrical, ethereal feel. It's quite orchestral at times. And it all feels so organic and very kind of live studio sounding. So, is there a way of doing things in the studio to achieve that sound? Like, how do you go about recording something like this?
Well, it was my producer Kai Welch. He had the idea to because we wanted it to have that specific sound, like a vintage nostalgic sound. So we recorded most of the tracking live in the studio, and we didn't really use a click track, so it's very much like the feel of the room and the feel of the day. And of course we did some overdubs, but like the main part of all the tracks was done live, and it's kind of like capturing a special moment in time as opposed to like stacking things on later.
And the one thing that people can never sort of deny with your music is how steeped in the country history you are, and you always respect the traditions of the genre. And you've done that again with this one. So, is that something you're always conscious of when you're writing and recording, or is that just naturally what comes out of you?
A little bit of both, because that's that type of music and that specific era of like 60s and 70s classic country is kind of my heritage and what I grew up listening to, and with my dad. And it's what I love. It's the type of music that I love. It's kind of food for the soul. And so I want to keep that vibe going, but say something new with it.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that I know this isn't an album that's just been worked on for the last year or so, because I know you wrote Digging Deep 10 years ago, and obviously Remembering's been around for a long time. So, how did you go about choosing the songs for this project whilst making sure that they all kind of fit as one package?
Just narrowing it down to the songs that would make for a cohesive album and tell a similar story, kind of all fit together. And, of course, songs that I really love and wanted to release. But I feel like the whole album kind of stands on a similar note. So that was definitely a conscious choice. But it's hard to choose because there's, so many songs that you want to put on an album, but, you can only choose so many.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier about working with Kai Welch. How did that relationship develop, and how much does Kai's expertise kind of elevate the sound of the record?
I met Kai in like the first 2 weeks I moved to Nashville. We were both at a bluegrass jam at the Five Spot in East Nashville. Rest in peace, bluegrass jam at the Five Spot. It ended like that was the last one, and then it stopped. I was so sad. It'd been going on for years, but luckily I met a lot of my friends there that night in music. So Kai and I met, and we decided to get together to write. And that was our first write was when we wrote Remembering together. So we just became really good friends after that, and great colleagues. Um, and when I went to make my second record, he had been playing in Casey Musgrave's band most of the year, but he had also put out some solo music of his own that was really quite good. And I just kind of immediately thought of him and said, he's the one to do this next record with. We both had a similar vibe, and I knew that he would do it with taste, and we would be kind of a team on it, you know?
Yeah. Well, the expertise that you've had on this record in general are just incredible because you had Vince Gill in on If I Wasn't as well. And we all know what a genius Vince Gill is, but from someone who's actually been in a studio with him and worked with him from a creative perspective, just how good is Vince in the studio?
Vince is a total pro. You know, he's a complete country star in his own right, but when he came in to record his parts on my record, it was like he was just another studio musician. He was so humble and kind and just open to suggestion. And, you know, of course I was just like, do whatever you want, Vince. You're the king. Um, but yeah, he was just there to do his job and what he does best. And it was just so cool to watch him work and sing beautiful harmonies. And we did a couple takes with him playing through the song on his electric guitar, and it's just really cool because that's when a musician's taste comes out, and to be able to see him creating live and in person was really neat.
That's amazing. And the list goes on really because you had your godfather Carl Jackson involved as well as a writer and instrumentalist. So just on that, how much inspiration has Carl given you over the course of your career, and what was it like working with him on this project?
The amount of inspiration that Carl gives me is like I can't even put it into words. He's, you know, more than a musical inspiration. He's a an inspiration in my life too, because he's just this amazing person of unconditional love, and he always lifts me up and supports me and picks me up when I'm down. And it's just he's one of my favorite people to be around, and especially to play music with. He's an example of someone who downplays his talent to the extreme. Like he's beyond talented, but he's just like, yeah, I'll play whatever. Let's just play. You know, he can do anything, but he would never brag about it.
And I wanted to speak to you about the sequencing of the record as well, because obviously you've touched on kind of choosing the songs and making sure they kind of came together as one package. But how do you go about putting them in order? Because I know, particularly as you're a big vinyl fan as well, that must be an important aspect to an album.
So when I choose the sequence of the songs, basically I have it on a playlist, and I'll rearrange them a bunch of times, and I'll listen to it front to back in many different ways, and arrangements. And you start to know after you listen to one song, your mind kind of knows like what you want to hear next. So I do it based off of that. Like after this song, I immediately want to hear which song. And so
Mm,
I try and do it like that, you know.
very cool. And I also wanted to talk to you about the album cover as well, because I know that that's your dad's stage wear that you're wearing on the album cover. And when I'm kind of planning interviews with you, I always try and avoid going too much down the dad route, because you must get that in every single interview. But you obviously take a lot of pride in kind of following in your dad's footsteps. So talk to me about that album cover and how important that was for you.
Yeah, it means so much to me that I can have kind of a piece of my dad on the album cover. And it totally lends itself to the feel of the album, I think. When I did that photo shoot, I was going through my mom's, you know, closets at her house, and I found the old nudie suits, and I immediately thought, oh, I need to do a photo shoot in these. So I called up my friend Natia Stinko, and we did a photo shoot. And I wasn't even planning on it being the album shoot, but we loved the photo so much. I said that's the album cover.
That's incredible. And
And what's crazy is the outfit fit me perfectly. I didn't
I
have to
know
do
that's
anything.
amazing. That is incredible.
Yeah, I was like, wow, okay, Dad, you're a skinny dude.
No, that's amazing. And just before I let you go, Ashley, I wanted to speak to you about the UK and see if you kind of had a message for the UK fans who might not be able to see you, or we probably won't be able to see you perform for quite a while now. So I guess you would have been over here this year doing some stuff to promote the album. So
Oh,
Got
yeah,
anything to say
surely.
to Stefan?
I I guess I just want to say thank thank you everyone for supporting me and loving my music. And I think about everyone in the UK very, very often, and I'm really looking forward to getting back there and playing many, many shows.
We look forward to having you back. Well, Ashley, enjoy the rest of your time in Croatia, and best
Thank
of luck
you.
with the album release. I'm sure it's going to go very well, and I hope it gets the success that it deserves.
Thanks so much.